How can you master your mind and keep pushing yourself when you least feel like it? Ray Kashkar is a Navy SEAL veteran who had a storied career completing multiple combat zone tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, mastering high and low-profile security protection for various government agencies like the CIA. Welcome to the Best You podcast, where we explore how to improve all 6 areas of life: your health, personal, career, financial, spiritual, and relational. My name is Nick Carrier, an entrepreneur, fitness trainer, and motivational speaker. And I was going down the traditional path of working a 9-to-5 until my mentor saw something in me. I quit my job and started my own business. My mission is to help you gain clarity on how to become your best you. Ray Kashkar learned how to overcome adversity at the young age of 11 when his father was murdered. Then he became one of the most badass Navy SEALs who had a storied career, and now is a peak performance consultant, a motivational speaker who transforms people all around the country and the world. Before going into this interview, I just want to let you know that Ray uses pretty explicit language. I didn't want to tell him not to, and we're not editing it out because I feel like it's a part of who he is, and it makes his message what it is. So I just want to let you know that in advance, you're getting ready to really hear it from him. So get ready to learn how to become a more badass version of yourself with the one and only Ray Kashkar. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Best You podcast. Today, I'm super fired up to be joined by the one and only Ray Kashkar. Ray, I just want to dive right in, man. I'm really excited to get into today. We've got a lot of people who are, everybody who listens to the Best You podcast is self-improvement focused. People are health and fitness focused, and I know that they're going to get a lot of motivation from you and a lot of experience from you and stories from you. And I kind of want to dive right into why you became a Navy SEAL. I know you didn't necessarily know a ton about it before joining the Navy SEALs, as I feel like a lot more people have so much more, to an extent, insight as to what it means to be a Navy SEAL now before making that decision. So talk to me a little bit about how much insight you had and why you felt like that was the decision to make when you made it.
Well, we didn't get a lot of insight. We didn't have all the Navy SEALs they weren't giving out pretty much the curriculum's out there for everybody, but just because it's out there doesn't mean you're going to pass it. I actually think the little bit that I knew at the time I thought was a lot actually was a benefit of me going because now everybody knows how. I knew that it was broken down in 3 phases. I knew Hell Week was here, pool comp was here, and then you had demo in 3rd phase. I knew you had to run a lot, swim a lot, push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups. But the reason why I joined the military was simply this. And I want to make this very clear to all the listeners. I'm not a victim here. I'm not playing the victim role. If you play the victim role, shame on you, because you're just going to continue to feel sorry for yourself. You're going to go nowhere. But, I didn't have a great childhood, and I was getting a lot of trouble at the time where I was contemplating, some really heavy shit in my life. Like, what am I going to do? And it was, at the time, it was military or probably end up in jail. College, I tried college, and listen, I'm going to make this very clear. I know I run with a big crowd, million, multi-million, 100 million, billion-dollar men. 95% of them don't have college degrees. I'm not saying that that's not for you. I'm saying it wasn't for me. I tried community college. I pissed it away. I wasn't focused. I'm actually going to go speak one of my events, myself and Matt Schneider. We run the Q course. We're getting ready to speak at a college about retention of college. And I'm kind of listen, to me, and I want to make this very clear. I think college, for the most part, is a piece of paper that shows that you can get up and do something for 2 years or 4 years or whatever it is. In today's, job economy, really, people were just hiring for people to show up that will show up. So times have changed. But for me, the military was a turning point, a critical turning point in my life, because, I think there comes a point in every human being's life where they come to a fork in the road, right? That symbolism is, if they're gonna become the victor or stay the victim. And I chose, the path less traveled. And for me, that path had to be, at the time, and again, I have nothing against any other former spec ops groups. They're all hard in their own fashion. But, 17-year-old kid, going nowhere real fucking fast, pardon my language. I was like, this is the hardest thing to do in the world. And I was drawn to it. And and people, Mr. Tim Grover is one of my mentors right now. Tim Grover, Attack the Athletes. He's probably one of the best speakers I've ever heard. And he came up with, the definition of success. And I hear it all the time. It's, 98% of the people want to be successful. 1% of people need to be successful. And then whatever is left over, that other percent are the people that are obsessed with it. Now he says, you understand that it's 1 and 1. I said, yes, sir. He goes, but you have to be like the 0.5 of the 1. And that's what it was. And all I did is I decided that right then and there I remember the night when I looked in the mirror and said, it's time for a change, that enough is enough. And I hope this resonates with a lot of people, because this is what I'll tell you. And I'm looking at you because you're a year younger than my son. We just had this fucking conversation. If you don't like where you are right now and you don't like where you're heading, in 1, 3, 5, or 10 years, I'm going to ask you where you are, and you're going to be the same place you are right now, which is not happy. So the best advice I can give young men and women is, number one, be obsessed with success, right? Prioritize, strategize, and monetize. Monetization does not mean money. Create growth, right? Make an impact. A couple of my mentors are like, you can't be passion driven. You have to be purpose driven. Bullshit. You can be both. I'm making really good money doing what I love. I build guns. I'm the chief communications officer of a gun company, Watchtower Firearms. I'm a motivational speaker, and I run a course. Right now I'm running a course called the Q course with Matt Schneider, and he's already launched. I'm trying to buy my way in to his couples community, because these are the things that I love. So to answer your question, because I know I went on a whole rant and tangent, is just, if you're somewhere in your life right now and you're at a wall, you're at a sticking point, figure out what you are like a subject matter expert at, right? Brenda Lee, she talks about the pizza pie. I love it. I just brought this analogy. But what is your 5% zone of genius that you can do better than anybody else on the planet? Or, right, because someone is like, someone can always do what I do. Yes, but they may not present it the way you present it. Myself, Jason Redman, Rob O'Neill, all the amazing speakers can get up and we can say the same thing. My way may reach some people, Jason's way, Jocko's way, Goggins, everybody reaches someone. But my point is each and every one of you and me have something to offer to this world, because we were put on this earth for a reason, right? You and I both were. Now, the $1 million question, and I wish if I could answer this, I'd be the richest man in the world, is to be able to tell you what that is. Right now, I can go from that's the 100,000 foot view to the 5,000 foot view, which is create growth, make an impact. How do you do that? By being subject matter expert in something, figure out what you're really freaking good at, and learn how to create and monetize that skill set into profitable business. And that's all I've done. Now, and the only thing I've done, sir, just so you know, is I'm not a motivational coach. I like the word elevational coach. I'm a pain coach. That is the one thing. Well, there's a couple things that we all have in common. We're born, we're going to die, and we're all going to suffer some form of pain. I've suffered pretty much in every form of pain there is. There's physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, financial, and even sexual pain. So that gives me street cred. I'm not going to get into my past. I didn't have a great childhood. We can leave it there. But what I will tell each and every listener here is you're not alone if you're suffering. So the trick is everybody, the reason why I joined the Navy was simply this. Everybody wants to be successful in life. And the way that most people are wired is they need to add to become successful. The truth of the matter is you need to delete. You need to delete all the negative out of your life, the toxins, the poisons. Quit anything and everything that doesn't serve you purpose in your life right now. And then once you do that, then you're going to open up those channels. And what happens is, as human beings, we run on 3 frequencies: ultra low, high, and high frequency. I'm an ultra high frequency guy. I started off on a low frequency. And then all that is breaking those physical, mental, and emotional barriers. So the military for me it really wasn't an option. It was my calling, and it was due to being the byproduct of acting like a victim because my father was murdered. I was addicted to some drugs. I was drinking too much, getting into fights. I was literally, and I don't know if you know who this is, I was a billboard for a Jerry Springer show, right? White trash kid from Baltimore who was going nowhere fast. But what's so great about the story is, and what each and every one of you have to understand is, you control the narrative, right? It can be a horror story. It can be a happily ever after. It can be nonfiction, right? Horror stories, you play the victim. Nonfictions, you go around bullshitting people through your life. And, the happily ever after is you create, your best version of what a fairy tale world is. And that's what I'm doing, man. And I'm not looking back. I'm not apologizing for it. You've seen my shit on Instagram. I'm not apologizing. I get people all the time. I'm not apologizing. I won't apologize for getting in someone's ass. Bedros Koulian just talked about this on the Sean Ryan podcast, who's one of my very good friends, number 2 podcast in the country. Clips on me. A dumb Irish kid from Baltimore, man, is on the number 2 pretty much podcast. And Sean's looking at me for the podcast. And I told him, careful, because I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to dilute my message. I'm not going to change my message. I'm going to be me. And that's why I work for the gun company I work for. I am unapologetic for being an American.
Oh, yeah.
So digest all that, young man.
I'll do my best. I probably need a little extra time at some point later to really digest all of that. But I love what you said about so many different things. But one of the things that you said is, I'm not a motivational coach. I like the word elevational coach, but I'm a pain coach. And, like you said, everybody has different periods of their life where they're experiencing pain, whether that's something they intentionally sought after and are going through, or unintentionally are going through. And I know that during the training days to become a Navy SEAL and after, you've had a lot of times where you were experiencing a lot of pain, and maybe during the SEAL training, you thought about potentially quitting at different points. Talk to us about what it takes to transition from being at a point of pain and seriously contemplating making the decision of quitting versus getting past that and getting like, hell no, I'm not quitting. I'm freaking pursuing through this thing. Like, how do we make that transition?
Well, I think that's a 2-part answer. Number 1 is the why, right? The internal why. So case in point, I don't know if you have a family, but like the old Cash, the Ray Cash care here that you would have asked, what's my why? I would have looked you right in the eye and said, it's my wife and my 2 amazing kids, my 2 chihuahuas, and my cat. But the real why is me. So like, if I want to be a better husband, father, lover, right? No matter what it is, friend, if I want to be the best version of being a Navy SEAL, I have to be the best version of me. So many people do things for the wrong freaking reasons. Their whys get twisted. They're watching too many movies, reading too many books, and not really putting in the sweat equity, what it takes to become a SEAL. And I'm going to tell everybody $1 million secret here. The sweat equity is more mental and emotional than it is physical, right? You can show up in decent shape and get in better shape. You can't show up a mental and emotional train wreck and get stronger. You don't have time. So what do I do? What have other people done that I think are successful is we have that physical, mental, and emotional switch. It's not 3 separate switches. It's not. It's that switch that you have to hit when you hit rock bottom. For me, rock bottom was Steel Pier. That's where Lieutenant Redmond had to push me in because my body said no. My mind was saying yes, but my body said no effing more. Jumping off, literally laying on a steel pier, freezing to it, and jumping in the water and getting back out and doing it again. My body said, I've had enough. It clocked out. But I knew, and what got me through, like what gets me through is I am a future thinker, right? So I want you to, you're not married with kids, are you yet?
No.
Perfect. So this will work for you. I was single going through buds. But these are the things that went through my mind. And these are split seconds. I know when I talk about them, they go fast, but I visualize. I visualize being a 51-year-old man. I visualize getting married to the woman of my dreams. having two great kids and having to explain to my 29-year-old son, Dad, you were in the Navy. Yeah, I was, son. Did you ever think about being a Navy SEAL? At that moment, I would have either had to, remember we talked about writing that story? I could have told fiction, nonfiction, horror story, or fairy tale. I chose fairy tale. Same thing with my daughter. Don't ever quit. Don't ever quit. I have a course out called Quit. I get up on stage. I just spoke to like 3,000 lacrosse players across the nation and got up there and said, I'm the biggest effing quitter you've ever met in your life. And you could hear a mouse fart. And they looked at me. I have quit this in my life to attain and gain this in my life. As human beings, we can only hold so much here, here, and here. I get rid of all the things that I'm tired of holding that do me no use to hold anymore. And it frees up that bandwidth that we talked about. Everything I do, it circumvents and comes back around. So in Buds, all I did was that pain that I learned as a kid, being physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, and sexually abused, I learned how to harness that pain. I learned how to channel it. Most people run from pain. Pain is a demon. You can't kill a demon. You can name, claim, and tame it. That's what I've learned how to do with the beast inside. Right? There's things that happen to me where I can't go to certain things. There's certain smells in certain places I don't go to. So I don't go to them. It's just like if you're an alcoholic and you know that going to a bar might trigger that beast, why would you fucking go to that bar? But too many people poke at the bear, right? That's the beast. And they want to see. I don't want to see. I've been down that road. I know what it's like. I'm not going to go down that road again. And the reason why I get up here and I spread this message is because I know there's other people who've gone through the same pain as me. The nightmares, was it me? Did I do this? Did I deserve this? And they could be going through life like I did for the first 17 years of my life, blaming the entire effing world on why they're where they are. And then when you look in the mirror and I do one of my self-reflection drills, I go, why not you? You are a typical victim. Just because you were this, and this doesn't mean you need to pass that torch on. I don't beat my kids. I've whooped my son's ass a few times, but that's as he got older. I've never struck my daughter. I opened a car door for my daughter. I opened it since the day she was born, bringing her home. I don't hit her mother. I treat her with respect. I'm not going to do the things to my children, especially my daughter or my son, that were done to me as a child. And I raised them to do the same damn thing. Or I could be like the analogy of that story with the drug addict father who has I know you've heard this, the two twin sons, right? One's a heroin addict. The father's a heroin addict. And they ask the son, why are you a heroin addict? Because my father's a heroin addict. They ask the other one, why are you a multi-billionaire? Because I want to help my father and my brother. I chose to be that brother. Now, I'm not worth $100 billion, but I've got that mindset. I've got something that most people don't have, and that's just grit, grind, and determination. Because I've channeled that pain to turn it into profit. I just talked about that. It's on my Instagram. I said this. I came up with this analogy, this saying that I use. I use it in all my speaking events. And I was getting ready to go on and talk to thousands of people for Bedros Keuilian. When you do big events for like an Ed Milet and Andy Frisella, you don't change the script. You just don't do that. And I called him and I'm getting ready to go. And he's like, dude, is everything okay? And I'm like, I just had an epiphany. He goes, wait a minute, what? I said, I came up with this and I want to use it in my speech. And he goes, okay, let me hear it. And I said, I have realized that I am a pain coach. He goes, explain. I said, pain equals growth. Growth equals power. Power equals knowledge, and knowledge equals profit. Pain equals growth. Growth equals power. Power equals knowledge, and knowledge equals profit. I have learned how to profit from my past and current pain. And he thought about it for a second. He goes, dude, that's brilliant. Don't screw it up. Like, don't get it wrong. But he has a similar background. So if you haven't experienced a lot of those pains, that may not resonate with you, but if you have, I'm telling you, it's a bolt of lightning, it's a charge, it's a switch. You're like, you see people, they're like, wait a minute, what? I can profit from my pain? Yes. If I can do it, you can do it. Will I be a multimillionaire? I don't know. But I will tell you, I will be in a better place than someone that doesn't put in the work. I will not be tomorrow where I am today. I refuse to settle. I refuse to cap out. I refuse to be I hate this word. I refuse to be one of my worst words in the world, average. I fucking hate the word. I will not be average in anything I do. People always ask me, what is your biggest fear in life? Dying, saying, Ray Cash Care, average dude. Yeah. 5'7", 205 pounds. I'm as average as they come, man. But I make a statement with everybody and everything I touch, meet, greet, shake hands with, because I am so grateful and so blessed that every day I get up. I honestly, I know people say this all the time, it's cliche. I live my days like it's my last one, man. I go to the gym and I train harder than other people. There's some people who train harder than me. I'm grateful, spend quality time with my wife. I don't believe in balance. I believe in creating daily balance according to whatever the day brings, right? I'm a control freak, man. I'm going to control what time I get up, what time I go to bed, what I'm putting in my body, how much time I'm spending at the gym. I can control, per se, how much money I'm making with my speaking events. But once I get behind that car, man, I lose that control. Once I get in a plane, I lose control. Too many people are too scared to take control of what they can in their lives. They're letting too many outside entities control them. I don't let fast food control me. I don't eat fast food. If I do, you'll see me at Chick-fil-A. I'll get a grilled chicken sandwich, right?
Yeah.
I'm not falling subject to, you see all these people that aren't paying their bills and, I'll just sit on my house. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be average. I'm never going to look average. I'm never going to act average. I'm never going to hang out with average human beings. Because if I do that, I'm settling, and I refuse to settle. And anybody listening to this, I got to watch my time. Just don't settle. Like, you have so much more. Like, I haven't even, the million people ask me all the time, was Navy SEAL the biggest highlight of your life? Nope. Technically, it's my wife and kids, but you know what? Everything that I have done has put me in front of you right now. What we're doing now is going to put me in front of someone else. I am not Al Bundy from Married with Children. I am so sick of living in the past. When I get up and do my big motivational speeches, and I love all the team guys that get up there and speak, they give you a pamphlet. They know who you are. We spend 10 to 15 minutes talking about all the cool shit we did for the O&R factor. I'm not Al Bundy. Listen, guys, it's in the pamphlet. Who can't read? Raise your hand. No one reads. All right, let's get to work. Let's save 10 minutes of me stroking myself off, and let's talk about what I can do for you now that's going to help you in 10 minutes and tomorrow. And people are like, oh, shit, let's do this. Now, if you can't read, I'm happy to tell you how awesome I am. But if that's the case, I've only got an hour and it's going to take me longer than that. And people laugh. But no, let's get to work, man.
Yeah. Gosh, so many different good things that I wanted to just touch on real quickly before we move on to the next part. I think that, the root of the first question was about how to push past a point of potentially wanting to quit. And I think you mentioned so many good things. Like, first off, like knowing what your why is, and like realizing that, yes, other people are a part of your why, but like, for me, that's why my business is called Best You, because my why is just, I want to become the best version of myself. Yes, for a bunch of different reasons, but like, I want to make sure that the version of me tomorrow is better than the version today. Like you said, like, I don't want to be average. I don't want to be complacent. I think one of the mindset things that you mentioned that I talk about a little bit as well is visioning and visualizing your future self. If you can visualize your future self and you want to make that person proud of the current version of yourself, you're going to act a whole lot differently, both with the way that you act, with what you put in your body, how you move your body, the things that you say and everything like that. Keeping in mind the future version of yourself is critical. And then you talked a lot about quitting a lot of things, and I think a lot of people are not willing to sacrifice and extract or remove a lot of things from their life. And I think that is just a huge separator and a huge differentiator between people like you and people who are really successful. So I wanted to acknowledge those things as well. Talk to me about the transition. Was the transition from being a Navy SEAL to being like motivational speaker, was that a difficult transition for you when you moved away from that? Or talk to me about that.
SEAL to CIA, no. Same thing, just made more money. Transitioning into the business world, scared shitless, and I'll tell you why. If you're overseas and you're fighting, you know who your enemy is. In business, everybody's smiling, telling you they got their back. I'm telling you this right now. I'm going to give everybody another $1 million piece of advice for business. Entrepreneur is someone who gets up and take risks. Number one, we're all entrepreneurs. Number two, everybody that says they're cheering for you, they are. They're cheering for you until you fail. And then they are going to be the first ones to poke at you and go, haha, look at him. Nobody wants to see you succeed like you do. So the best advice I have, and I got the shirts over there, is these 3 words, or maybe 4. I bet on me. 4 words. I bet on me. Bet on yourself, invest in yourself, and let nothing or no one deter you from your goals. That is it. That's it, man. I'm giving you short answers now, but I'm not in a rush to go because I'm trying not to talk too much. I made a note to myself, shut the fuck up. So
no, that's great. That's great. I think that was awesome. Another thing I wanted to touch on, because you mentioned it, when you've talked about quitting a lot of things and removing unnecessary things from your life that don't have you focused on your goals. You also talked about how you are part of a gun company. You are a motivational speaker. You have the Q course and you're doing other things in business. Talk to me about the difference between not doing too many things and removing the things that don't keep you focused, and doing the different things that you're doing, and like having your hands in a lot of different things. Talk to me about like what that balance looks like and how they're actually different.
So there's multitasking and multi-doing. And when I first started in the business, I was, throwing it out there everywhere. I had 70 logs on the fire waiting for something to catch. But what I do and what I have done is I simplify things, right? Keep it simple, stupid. That's what we talking about in the military. I have my 4 F-bombs. I have it tattooed right here on my hand. My family, my fitness, my finances, and my faith. Right? Family. How can I be the best father, husband, whatever version of a human being you are in your life, be it. Fitness is 3-dimensional, physical, mental, and emotional. Finance, how do I create real generational wealth? Like not just everybody, listen, I'm not going to be a slave to my wage. I'm not. Everybody's a slave to their wage. When you have a salary, that is someone telling you they are capping off your goals and dreams. I have a salary job, but I just landed a $106,000 3-day gig on the side. How did you do that? Because I go in and tell people not why they need me or why I need them, or why they need me. Right. So that's what I do. And I'm just going to continue to do things. I just keep it very simple. And I only focus on those 4 things. That's all I do. I had so many fires going out. I wanted to be a subject matter expert in here, and here. Literally, it's as simple as breaking out that whiteboard like you saw over here and just writing down. I literally draw a circle, make a pizza, and I put all these slices of what I'm good at. And then after that, I'm like, what's my favorite piece of that pizza? Do I like pepperonis? Do I like all this stuff? And I'm like, well, really, I could eat a pizza with pepperoni, sausage, mushroom, and onions. That's my pizza I get. I'm going to focus, and people are like, what the hell does that do? I focus on simplicity. Here's the thing. Once I get really freaking good at those 4 things, maybe I'll open up some more bandwidth. Too many people have too many irons in the fire. And sometimes all that iron needs to do is just kind of be pushed a little. But if you don't have the time and the energy, it's going to fizz out. So then you're left with, it's not options. It's, you have no options. You're just sitting there because everything you've been focusing on, it's this. So keep it simple. And that comes back to figure out what you're really freaking good at. What I tried to think what makes me want to get up every morning and what makes me not want to go to sleep at night. That's how I did it. And it's speaking, doing my camps where I'm yelling at people and stuff. Kids, I love working with kids. And I love guns. That's what it is. That's it. And people are like, how can you make so much money in that? Because I really put myself, I really give myself to each one of these areas because I only have so much to give, right? I incorporate my wife and daughter help me with these businesses. Why not?
That's great.
It's people are like, it's that simple. It's just take time to figure out what you're really good at and then put all your energy into that versus putting in all the bullshit. I was thinking about being a nutritionist, thinking about doing fitness programs, I don't do that. I was doing coaching for a while. I don't want to do that. I like speaking, my camps, doing things with my wife, and guns.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that you said that's important for people to hear is, like, in the beginning you had, lit logs all over the place and trying to feel things out. And I think that's oftentimes where it needs to start. And that's where you figure out, okay, what do I really enjoy? How do I really want to be spending my time? And can I actually create growth and strategize and monetize and all that kind of stuff? And sometimes that takes time, and then you can narrow your focus and be like, boom, let's go all in on this particular thing and keep a lot more specific focus on that. And so I think for a lot of people out there, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to figure out where you're really going to be channeling your energy.
And if you want to put it in layman's terms, as simple as this, there's a gas pedal. Sometimes you have to press down. Sometimes you have to let off. I took my time. at the beginning and really came up with a plan, right? I came up with a plan your dive your plan. And I was like, I'm going to give it. And when you do everything, I do everything phase line training, best average, worst case. I'm going to do this in the best case scenario. I'm going to make my first $500,000 in 3 years. That's not the case. It's going to be 5. Worst case scenario is going to be 7. If it doesn't happen in 7 years, it's time to start doing something. I mean, that's good money. When I exceeded that, I was like, okay, now that we've done that, what can we do next? How can I add value without diluting who I am and what I'm producing now? Yeah. And, that's where you have up funnels and you have all this stuff. I'm going to give the business side of it. And I have people working with me and for me now. I have a business partner, Matt Schneider. I do things with my buddy, Ronnie Garcia. I bring the people in my life that have never let me down before. My wife, she handles all she handles all the money in the business. My daughter, we pay her. She helps us with things. She'll break out the suitcases when I got to go. I'm like, hey, it's a machine, right? And the thing is you have to be all in. You have to be completely invested into this. And if you're not, all you're doing is just burning time. All in. You're talking to a guy who works on Christmas. All in. And my family understands that. You're talking to a guy that when we go to Disney, me and my wife get up at 6 o'clock and go work out. I'm up at 4 working, getting the emails and everything out. At 6 o'clock, I have time for them. At night when we're done, Lily, I take an hour to go over everything. Then I still spend quality time with my wife. I ain't getting much sleep. But what I am getting is creating memories and building, hopefully, what I like to think is the Ray Cash Care empire, which is coming. Yeah. It's that simple.
That's awesome.
It is that simple, but it takes work. It's not it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be easy. Winning the lottery does not make you successful. It makes you lucky. When you go out and you're a kid that makes no money, you make your first. Wes Watson's one of my business coaches. First $10,000 a month, hit me up. $30,000 a month, hit me up. $50,000 a month, hit me up. I just hit him up with $134,000 a month. He goes, don't hit me up again until it's $250 because I'm tired of hearing your little bullshit 6-figure months. I'm like, he makes $2 million a month. My response is, Roger that, coach. And he hangs up on me. Dude, that's the best coaching a human being can get.
Yeah.
At first I was like, he's like, do you have your feelings get hurt easy? Nope. Good. Here we go. He's like, how can you have the people that you have, the platforms that you have, and you're not making the money? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm not going to use the language that he gave me because literally was like, but I just gave what he said. And Matt Schneider, same thing. Now I'm averaging 6 figures a month. I barely have a high school education. And it's not about the money, but I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a slave to the wage.
Yeah, I want to touch on kind of the almost last idea that you talked about, how your coach speaks to you or treats you in the same wavelength, talking about how you coach people and you yell at people, and you've touched on the Instagram post of Bedros Keuilian sitting down on that podcast and watching that video of you yelling at the guy, and I watched that, and one of the things that Bedros Keuilian said was like, yeah, you see him getting after this guy on this social media clip. What you don't see is the time that you're spending, that he's spending with these guys outside of it, loving on them, talking with them, crying with them, journaling with them, doing these other things, and building a good rapport. And I think that's super important, because I think that kind of connection provides you the ability to actually get on these people to the level that you get on them, and they're not completely distraught because of it, right? Like they know you're doing it from a place of love. They don't think you're doing it from a place of necessarily disliking them. So I want you to kind of riff on the importance of like both building connection, but holding the people that are underneath you or that you're leading, holding them to a high standard, and how you kind of balance the duality of like love and accountability, and like love and a high standard.
Well, before we start, and I'm going to talk to you in the Ray Cash Care voice, because now you got to think. The only fucking way that you can hold other people to a higher standard is if you hold your fucking self to a higher standard. That's it. That's the secret. Remember we talked about that pizza pie? Instagram, social media is the same thing. We show you the 5% of who we are and what we do, of what we decide. Bedros Keuilian said it, right? Me caring, crying with someone who's had the same fucking past as me, right? That's not sexy. That's not. Like me getting emotional right now, thinking of what's been done to me. It's not sexy. What's sexy is when I'm screaming at somebody, but then you don't know the backstory, because that causes turmoil and chaos with a bunch of betas that are out there right now. But the secret to holding people accountable is you can't do that if you don't do it for yourself. And the reason why no one's punching me in the face and no one's doing this, like all the comments, I punch him in the face, is because these men at these courses have fucking tried everything else, and it hasn't worked. Just like I have two coaches, one's that's very eloquent, and I got Wes Watson. And there's times when I need both. Like he's like, I'm just like up against the corner because he's the size of a house. But I'm like, I deserve that. And the other one's like, listen, Ray, you're not thinking smart. Like Bedros is more eloquent. There's times where I need both of those. And what people need to understand is the difference between me and everybody else on social media is they'll show you every now and then I'll show you a couple cars and a couple things like this. But I will actually show you my best piece of pizza, which is actually my worst pizza. Me yelling at somebody you think is the best pizza. It's actually the worst. Because when I'm yelling at them, I'm so upset with them. I'm so frustrated because when I look at them, like you saw me yelling at, he goes by Viking Dadbot. He's a monster. He's like he's a super successful guy. He was literally, what you don't know about that clip is after I did that and he took off, he came up to me afterwards and broke Mo and said, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because people that make his kind of money and look the way he does and has a family, don't talk to him like it. He needed that. I did him a favor. I did him a solid. And he's a better fucking human being for it. Now, we've done a few skiffs, spoofs of it where I tease him about the guacamole when we're on a Vegas trip. But my point is don't be so fucking sensitive. Everybody now in America is so fucking sensitive. Like growing up, man, like, I think the reason I'm the way I am is because people just constantly put me in my place. I married a woman that puts me in my place every day, and I thank her for it every day. And the thing is what I wanted people to understand is the course isn't about the money, but if you have someone, listen, you pay for coaches, you pay for us to do it. I could have literally just sat there and ignored that guy and let him go through the course. But when you have someone that's willing to pour everything they have into you, that's a sign of love and affection, and people don't understand that, right? I'm a man that will tell someone, I fucking can't stand you, but I'm also the same guy that'll say, I fucking love you. And it's the same person. And I can tell them that like one right after the other. I love who you are. I hate what you're doing. And that's what I did with his name's Reed, right? His name's Reed Speck. I love the guy. He's like a brother to me. And the guy could probably pound my head into the ground. But at that moment, he knew, because I hold myself to this standard. I'm fit. My family, I've got it dialed in. I don't have it right, but I have it better than most. He knew that it was coming from, like Bedros said, from a place of love. And when people in this country stops thinking so fucking one-dimensionally and they start thinking out of the box and realize that everything that we do in these courses and I do, it has alternate meaning and purpose, then they become the best form of him. He was successful before. But what I've done for him is I've just like taken the chains off this guy. And he's just running crazy. He's in better shape. He moved. He's happy. And all this because he was so content with just making a certain amount of money, which was a lot, and living the perfect life. But he wasn't happy. And I saw that in him. And he was hiding behind all those machines and all the fancy stuff. And I ripped it all from him, and he was lost. And once I did that, at the time, people don't understand it. But people that really want to create growth and want to be somewhere different than they were yesterday, they'll take time to reflect and go, holy shit. And that's what he did. It hit me like an epiphany. I said that word again. He's like, holy shit. You weren't just yelling at me for no reason. You know, when it's going on, I never even know there's cameras around me. Mm-hmm. I have to be told to post that stuff for Bedros. I don't post that shit. I'm not there for social media, man. I'm there to make a difference. Bedros is just the master of capturing it and causing chaos, right? Mm-hmm. I don't care. Listen, if people want to hate me all you want. I have done more good in this world than I have bad, I think, as of late. And I've changed and helped a lot of men and a lot of young boys in this country. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to apologize to you or anybody else. I don't care who they are. I don't care if someone's like, listen, we'll pay you a ton of money. No. I know, and the reason why I do this is exactly what I needed when my father was murdered when I was 11, and I was a screw up till I was 16, because the course we run is between 11 and 16. And then when I was literally thinking about killing myself between the ages of 16 and joining the military, until I joined the military and I said, holy shit, the world is what I make of it. And you have two choices, ladies and gentlemen, get up and kick ass or get up and get your ass kicked. And I'll tell you what, I got my ass kicked for the first 17 years to the point where I didn't even care anymore. Now I kick ass. I still get knocked on my ass. But like I said on the Nick Bear podcast, I don't dust myself off. And that means I don't apologize, and I'm not going to change. I'm going to get right back up and do it again.
Amen to that. That's great, man. That's great. Well,
I'm fired up, man. You're good. You just get me fired up. Damn, man.
Good. Hell yeah. That's what I want. That's what I want. Just trying to pull out the best out of you, baby. Well, this has been great, man. Before I ask the last question, I just want to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge you for making the changes there's so many changes that you've made in your life, especially at that age of 17, going from victim to victor, and really realizing that, like, while all the stuff in the past, you were not responsible for, but your future and how you were going to shape it, you were responsible for, and how you were going to change from it, you were responsible for. I want to acknowledge you for that, and acknowledge you for having the ability to hold people to such a high standard from a place of love, from a place of like trying to pull them up and pulling out the greatest potential that they could actually see in themselves. So I just acknowledge all the work that you're doing for men, for boys, for women, and everybody out there. It's great. The last 45 minutes that I've spent with you, I know I've been fired up, and I know that we've motivated a hell of a lot of people.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. Well, everybody's going to want to go follow this guy on social media now if they don't already. So make sure you go follow him on Instagram at RayCashCare. You can go learn more about him on his website as well at raycashcare.com. But Ray, is there any other good place that people should go learn more about you and what you're up to?
I think those are the two main ones. I mean, I have the Instagram, the Facebook. It's all Ray Cash Care, but LinkedIn and all the other Facebook. But no, raycashcare.com if you're interested in any of my programs. Or you can just DM me on IG for any of my programs too. I answer every single DM as long as it's professional.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Ray, last question is that I think in order to get closer to the best version of yourself, it's both a constant journey and a unique journey. I don't think that we ever actually get to that best version of ourselves. I think it's just every day, constant journey. And I think the way that I'm going to get closer to the best version of myself is going to be a little bit different than the way that you get closer to the best version of yourself. So this last question is for you personally, is if there are 3 things that you could currently do or 3 things that you could currently work on to get closer to the best version of Ray Cash Care that you could possibly be, then what are those 3 things that you could currently do or currently work on?
Patience. I'm not a patient, man. I want it, and I want it yesterday. Um, Stay humble, because sometimes when the bank account starts getting big and the cars start coming, you seem to lose the perspective. So this is something else that I've been focusing on, and the faith. And again, not the spiritual. Which, listen, I'm a Christian. I make I don't hide that at all. But about believing in myself, because I am the king of self-sabotaging and self-doubt of myself. So they're the 3 things that I focus on every day. Those 3 simple things, stay humble, and just that's the biggest one with me, is staying humble, because you start hanging out with the wrong people, the right people, which is the wrong people. I'm not a billionaire, but when I hang around billionaires, you want to act like them. You can't. You have to act like the best version of yourself. Be patient. It will come, but you have to push yourself. And what was the last one? Let's see if you're paying attention. What was the last one?
You said faith.
Faith. That's right. Bet on yourself. No one else is going to. Yeah. I wanted you to say, I'm just checking. Bet on yourself every damn day. Even when you don't want to get up, get up. There's a reason why you're here. Figure out what that reason is. And when you find out, hit me up at Ray Cash Care and let me know why.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, there were so many different great things here. Ray, I appreciate your time, man. I know everybody was motivated and inspired and ready to get after it the rest of today and the rest of tomorrow whenever they're listening to this. But I appreciate your time, man. That's all we got.
Thanks, sir.